Yo neighbors, WVCC exclusive G.I. Joe Classified number 75, Philip Chuckles Provost. Let's get them popped open and take a look. Alright guys, WVCC or SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con. Everybody knows that San Diego was founded in 1904 by the Germans, and San Diego stands for whale's vagina.
Discovered by the Germans in 1904, they named it San Diego, which of course in German means a whale's vagina.
So call me old school, but that's why I call it the WVCC exclusive. Anyway, G.I. Joe Classified Series number 75, Philip Chuckles Provost. In hand, this was released recently at the Hong Kong Comic-Con, HKCC. I had a contact at Figure Grail that went there and picked this up for me, sent me a few figures. This is one of them. So if you're wondering why I got it early, I'll straight up tell you this is from overseas. Distribution can be a whole nother video, but they are released somewhat limited in Hong Kong right now. That's how I got a hold of it. So let's just right away look at the cover artwork. Now, we've seen this before. I did a video on some of the Easter eggs here. Looks like the box art is some sort of communication device, a two-way radio. You see some graphics here that indicate it's kind of like an iPhone or something to that extent. You got another number 75 here on the side. You got Extensive Enterprises here. If you remember Extensive Enterprises at all, it is the Crimson Twins front business for Cobra. You have some connections here on the side for this two-way radio. And the flap opens up. This is pretty cool. You got a little comic book story here. This is Chuckles visiting the coconut palm on Cobra Island. Now, obviously, it's not the same Cobra Island on the back of some of the Cobra Island exclusives because there's a resort here. But anyway, you see him breaking into a safe, confronting some Crimson Bat, and escaping. Pretty cool. And then you got the digital render here, which again shows the Crimson Strike Force there on the two-way radio within a case. Now, normally I like to highlight the artist, but I cannot find who the artist is for this packaging. If I find it, I'll link it below. Now, before we pop them open, like always, who is Chuckles? Chuckles is the undercover agent for G.I. Joe. The character debuted in the 1987 G.I. Joe movie. He was one of the new recruits that came in under Beachhead, and he has no lines in the movie. He has almost superhero strength. He throws a Havoc missile at a hiss. So I think initially when he first came out with his Hawaiian shirt, a lot of kids weren't sure what to make of him. Now, with the Hawaiian shirt, who was he inspired by? Now, if you think about the 80s, everybody was wearing these bright, crazy shirts. You know what? I think everybody. Hold on. Even Alf. So he wasn't just inspired by Magnum P.I. It was just the times. I mean, Miami Vice. Although, did Miami Vice come out yet? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. Definitely Magnum P.I. But there's an interview out there floating around with Larry Hama who said he's actually inspired by CIA spooks. And it's almost a parody of when they would show up in an area to be doing kind of undercover surveillance. They tried so hard to fit in, they stuck out like sore thumbs. So that's where the bright Hawaiian shirt comes from. There's actually a scene in Jurassic Park. So it's not exactly a CIA spook or operative. But if you remember the scene with Dodson when he meets Dennis Nedry to make the deal for the embryos, it's right here.
You shouldn't use my name.
Dodson! Dodson! We've got Dodson here! See, nobody cares. Nice hat. You're trying to look like a secret agent?
Hama said they were kind of making fun of those agents. The interview kind of alludes to Hama saying that they were kind of making a parody of those agents. That's why he's an undercover agent with this bright Hawaiian shirt on. So it's not 100% from Magnum P.I., but I can definitely see that was part of the influence. Also, I think he kind of looks like Nick Nolte. Not this Nick Nolte, who's got a Hawaiian shirt on, but a younger, kind of a husky, blonde-haired agent. Now, Chuckles is kind of a interesting character because he debuted in the movie. A lot of people didn't get what his character was in the comic books. He's got kind of this history where I feel like in this instance, they're going with the more comical Chuckles side of it. But then there's this definitive story from IDW called Cobra the Last Laugh. I think it was a 4-issue miniseries. They have it in a paperback and hardcover. That is the definitive Chuckles story. It goes on about what a toll it takes to be undercover, how much he's committed. He's so committed, and I won't spoil it, but he's so committed that he does take out an ally to keep his cover. And I mean, he kills an ally. The story is so good. You guys should definitely hunt it down and check it out. It's the definitive Chuckles story. You will look at this character in a whole nother light. And beyond that story, there's a scene in Casino Royale. Everybody knows the Bond parkour scene. It's Chuckles. It's basically Chuckles, the movie. There's a channel called RetroBlasting. The host is kind of like if Cameron from Ferris Bueller had a YouTube channel. But anyway, he did have a good video a few years ago where he added the soundtrack to G.I. Joe to that whole Casino Royale parkour scene. I mean, Daniel Craig is there with his Hawaiian shirt on. I think everybody thought that when they first saw that scene and thought of Chuckles, or at least any G.I. Joe fan saw that. I'll link that little video below. Definitely check it out. That's a fun watch. But let's get Chuckles open. Dude, that looks awesome. You telling me that's not Nick Nolte? That's definitely Nick Nolte. I know a lot of people are saying it's that YouTube guy, one of the Paul brothers or Logans or something like that. I don't see that. I see a young Nick Nolte. So yeah, he looks really cool. If you go on the page on Hasbro Pulse, read very carefully. I know a lot of people are wondering why in 2023 he would have a tucked-in shirt. You know what? Let me just get him out here. I like the design choice here with using the pattern from the shirt. Oh yeah, he looks really good. What I was getting at is if you go on the website and you read the description, it says that inspired by his classic design. Everything about this is really just the history of Chuckles. Definitely an 80s look. This character is pretty much always seen with his shirt tucked in. So they're going with a classic design. And one reason why I say pay attention to that wording is I imagine we're going to get an updated Chuckles at some point. So maybe if you missed out on the SDCC, WVCC exclusive here, I imagine another version of Chuckles is going to make its way out. So something else I'm noticing, if you get a chance to see his debut in the comic books, he looks a lot like Eddie Brock, Venom, and that's because he was originally drawn in his first appearance by Todd McFarlane, just in case you didn't know that. Anyway, he's got everything as far as articulation goes that you come to expect from G.I. Joe. Moves around really nice. It's got that drop waist here. Really nice detail there with the gun holster. The print is really nice. I mean, it's amazing. I've seen some paint app issues lately with some of the figures. I don't see anything here. He looks really nice. He's got the Joe Pro on his belt here. Pouches. Looks like a couple spots to put accessories. Nice gold watch. No 2023 tattoos on this figure. I know that they are tattoo happy right now, and I know not all fans like that. No tattoos on Chuckles. Nice, clean look. Down here with the Crimson Strike team, and pop open his accessories. So his box, they did a nice job. It says Crimson Strike team. It looks like a very nice and expensive briefcase. Ah, that's cool. They continue the print design. That's unique. I like that. That's attention to detail. It's got a ton of little accessories here. Something in a box. My guess is the sunglasses so they don't get warped. He's got his polarized sunglasses. I'll get something a little bit closer. And his Walkman headphones. I think that's kind of funny. Does anybody wear these in 2023? He comes with a second head. This one's beat up. This goes along with the character getting himself into trouble. He's got a standard beat up little, like, I guess it's supposed to be like a leather briefcase. Pops open. Nothing too exciting here. His lei is kind of a hard plastic, but it's a nice little nod to the character who is pretty good with the ladies and always gets laid. Old style binoculars here. Second set of hands with some brass knuckles here. Nice big knife. Good silver paint app on that. His little recording device. This is modeled after Shockwave, or actually the black version of Shockwave, which is Sound Blaster. Here's a little more updated version. He comes with 2 sets of handcuffs. So this one's a little more static. Seems bendable, but I'm sure with enough pressure you can break this, so just be careful. They give you one that's already broken, make it look like he escapes. I like this little thing, kind of a mission file folder. Kind of interesting that I guess he's investigating the Crimson Bats, even though we've had them for almost a year now. And then he just comes with a handgun. So a knife and a handgun, no machine gun, nothing like that. Let's pop his head off, see what he looks like. I didn't hear a snap. Anyway, there he is, kind of beat up, and he's laughing about it. And this is where they're kind of, like I said, drawing more inspiration from some of the, I guess, sillier appearances of him. I never thought he was that silly of a character outside of the movie. But they're definitely going with a more comical approach when you read the little comic story on the flap here. But he's built pretty nice. Gun goes right into the holster. Knife slides in fine. He feels solid, though it doesn't necessarily go on. You have to remove his head to put the light on. So something I like about this is his glasses appear to go right on without any issue. Very similar to Sergeant Slaughter. A nice upgrade from the Baroness, who had the slits in the side. And they're polarized. Maybe not polarized, but it's got like that metallic look. Sound Blaster, or his recording device, goes right into his belt there. There's a little clip right on the back of his belt here. It looks like the binoculars go right on with no problem. Everything feels tight. Those sunglasses aren't coming off, which is pretty impressive. So the headphones are a little bit loose for me. A lot of it loose. They're okay. I don't really see myself using these. They are pliable, so I'm sure that anybody that intends to use them can get them to stay on with no problem. I'm just not that person. Maybe they just suck. I don't know. You can put all these little accessories right into the briefcase with no problem. I can imagine these will get easily lost to try and keep them together. But anyway, that's Chuckles. What do you guys think? Were you able to score one? Were you able to get one with the QR code? Were you able to get one Hasbro Pulse? Now, if you weren't able to, I guarantee you'll have a few other chances. So usually when they start shipping them out, shipping notifications come, and then on a Friday, they usually do a back in stock type of deal. Keep your eyes peeled. You'll be able to get one. Also, I was able to score 2 with the QR code, so I will be doing a giveaway. These aren't due to ship until sometime in November. So what I think I'll do is I'll try and make somebody's holiday season. We'll try to open it to any and everybody, but I would like it to be somebody who simply can't get their hands on one. But all in all, this is a fun figure. Let's get him into some 80s breakdance poses. Up on the Lazy Susan. I'll get him outside and get some pictures to add. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you think you're going to chase this one down. I know a lot of people didn't care for the original figure back in the day. Somebody told me he used to be their hostage, or like a plainclothes civilian. And online in some of the G.I. Joe communities, people are a little bit divided. I know Valiverse has their figure that is heavily inspired by this one. We'll take a look at him, and then maybe we'll do a separate video where we compare the two, which I think is a little bit silly because these lines kind of complement each other, but we'll do it anyway. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Is he a silly character? Is he a cool undercover character? Do you know the Cobra Last Laugh story? Because if you don't, you should check it out, because you'll look at this character in a whole new light. It won't be as funny as what most people think, even though his name is Chuckles. Oh, I always forget to do this. I'm not that great at remembering to kind of compare him in size. So if you saw the G.I. Joe movie, he was huge. I think even in his comic book appearances early on, he was this big, burly character. Let's see how he stacks up next to a couple of the larger characters. Here's a little-known castmate from the G.I. Joe movie. This guy's name is Serpentor. Here he is up against Outback, or Range Viper. And you can see he's not huge. He's kind of a standard-sized G.I. Joe. Here he is with my version of the Crimson Strike Team. But let's set him up, like I said, for the 80s breakdance pose and call it a day. And here's Chuckles hitting that 80s dance pose with no problem. Oh, and for the Magnum PI fans, Bazooka's head, Sergeant Slaughter's glasses, And there you go. You got your Tom Selleck Magnum PI G.I. Joe. I love it. All right, so never mind. I took him outside, and in the lighting, he looks more like Freddie Mercury on vacation. So if you have fat-bottomed Cobra or fat-bottomed Joes, you're set. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, share, comment, and go hug somebody. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Oh man, I already lost the leg.